It's huge, huh? You have over 100 people here.
Hello and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name's Ian Rutherford. I'm one of the organizers of the United Nations World Data Forum. So welcome to the session that we have today to give you a little bit more information as we look forward to hosting the World Data Forum in Hangzhou, China, between the 24th of April and the 27th of April, 2023. It's been a long road to get here, and we're really excited to share a lot of the important news with you. Before we start, just a couple of housekeeping rules and effects. So there was a little poll that we asked you to take, so we get a little bit of an idea of the audience that is with us today, and I see many people have started to complete it, so thank you for that. I see we've got a lot of representatives from national statistical offices, from the statistical system, academia, civil society, private sector. So great, this is exactly what we're all about here, to have a broad range of our stakeholders. We're also looking to see how many of you are planning to attend in person or virtually, so that we can sort of train our questions on what I think is important to you for those different audiences. Interesting to see those results coming in. We'll share as we go through the session on some of that. And of course, whether you're here as an attendee, a speaker, or an organizer, all are welcome, and we hope to answer many of your questions. Also, you can ask questions through the chat. We have many of our organizers with us from the program committee, from the host, who is here represented, and of course us from the UN Statistical Division, which I'm from. And so to begin, I think I'd like to call on Francesca Perucci, our Assistant Director here, who's been leading the work on the World Data Forum, to begin and say a couple of words. So over to you, Francesca.
Thank you, Ian, and a warm welcome to all participants in this information session today. And thank you for your interest to attend the forum. As you know, the UN World Data Forum, as also Ian announced, will be held in Hangzhou, China, in April, from 24th to 27th of April. The aim of the forum is really to bring together the broader data community to foster innovation in how we produce, we communicate, and we use data to establish new partnerships, to mobilize high-level political and financial support for data. And overall, I would say to discuss how to build a pathway to better data for sustainable development. Since January 2017, when we held the first forum in Cape Town, South Africa, the audience of the forum has grown from 2,000 people to an active list of over 20,000 interested stakeholders who regularly exchange information with us. They participate in the series of webinars that we hold regularly linked to the themes of the forum. In Hangzhou, we will have a very full and extensive program, thanks to all our session organizers who submitted very good proposals, and to the members of the program committee who guided the development of the overall content of the forum, including defining the 4 key thematic areas, and spent many, many hours sifting through the proposals to design a very enriching program this year. And I really want to thank all of those who have sent proposals for sessions. I know it's a lot of work to prepare meaningful and really interesting and productive sessions that can lead to really a follow-up and concrete actions. And also recognize the amazing work of the program committee, led so well by Sheda Baidi and Ola Awad. Following the success of the 2021 forum, which was held in Bern, Switzerland, for the first time in a hybrid format, we had 7,000 registered participants on the virtual platform from over 180 countries, so a really wide representation from all parts of the world and all different data communities. The program committee and the host country decided to continue to run the program in a hybrid format, to allow participants to also access the very rich program from on the platform virtually. At the same time, though, we really encourage and maintain the richness of in-person participation, and we have several learning labs and demonstrations that were added to the program, which will be conducted only in person at the venue. So it's very important also to have a rich experience in person at the venue. So the registration is open and will remain open until February 15th. You'll find the details on the website. So I really encourage all of you to register. And then we'll open also a registration for those who cannot travel for virtual participations in April 23, before the forum. So I really welcome all of you to participate either virtually or in person and be part of the discussion to build better data for sustainable development and to continue this journey that we started together in 2017 in Cape Town. I'm really confident that the community will continue to grow and that we will have a great event again. Back to you, Ian. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Francesca. Thanks for opening this session up with those remarks. Perhaps to check that the chat's working, I see we've got now 170 people. Maybe people can start posting a little bit about where they're coming from, what countries, what organizations, so that we can see that yeah, people are out there and able to hear us. So to begin with some of the questions that we've received, so we've been looking over a lot of the registration questions that you gave us, and so I think we'll start with taking a couple of the questions that really popped to the top of the list, and I think Francesca will be able to help me with this. So perhaps I can pose to Francesca first. So the question we got was, are there any fees or restrictions for registering to attend the forum, either in person or virtually? It's a question we get a lot.
Thank you, Ian. Absolutely no fees. This is a UN event and there are no fees, and we encourage everybody to register, as I said, either for participation in person or remotely. And the forum is supported with the generous contribution of the host country also. So we try to welcome everybody, and absolutely no fees.
That's great. That's good. So the next question, and I can probably answer this one, is how can we get a visa? So as Francesca mentioned, I think you see there was a link in the chat. Perhaps we can share that again. I see everyone is commenting now. Wow, it's good to see everyone from all around the world. It just makes you realize how special this forum is to engage in so many different countries and colleagues. So in terms of the visa process, so once you register this is obviously for in-person attendance, the registration is currently open until the 15th of February. When you register, we will send you after, bear with us, have some patience, bear with us as we approve those registrations, and we will send out an email to confirm that your approval, and then a visa letter will be provided by our hosts that allow you to go to a local embassy to obtain a visa. So the reason for the short registration, and we would really encourage you to register as soon as possible so that we can move along with that approval process as quickly as possible with the hosts. and provide you then with or allow the hosts to quickly be able to provide that letter. So if there's any further questions on that, then please put that in a chat, because I think this is quite an important aspect. The next question we received is, are there any in-person exhibit opportunities? I can also cover that. So yes, this is something that we will announce shortly in cooperation with the hosts. They have quite a large exhibit area at the Hangzhou International Exposition, where this forum is taking place, and we will hope we will share those details shortly. Then the next question is, how will the World Data Forum be accessible for persons with disabilities in person and online? I don't know, Francesca, if you want to say something on that.
Yeah, and thank you. That's a very important question. And since the beginning, we've made every effort since the first forum in Cape Town to work with the host country to facilitate accessibility. And we also follow our own recommendations from the UN, right? Being this also a UN event. So we've always been able to offer accessibility in terms of the venue, and also making sure that there are hotels that are accessible. There are, of course, sometimes challenges, because not all different types of disabilities can be accommodated, especially when it comes to the type of presentations that some of the single sessions have in their structure, right? So not all sort of PowerPoints, etc., are made accessible. But at least the plenaries we try to make accessible. In particular, perhaps Ian, you want to say a few words about our particular efforts in Bern, because I think we were able to accommodate a bit more. I mean, every forum, I think we've made progress. So maybe you want to say a little bit about what we've done there, and if there is a possibility of repeating similar experiences in Hangzhou. Back to you, Ian.
Yeah, certainly, Francesca. I think one of the innovations of the Bern Forum, which happened in 2021, was this sustainability concept, of which that was a sort of one of the key considerations in that document. And our hosts have diligently worked on an update for Hangzhou, and we hope to share that soon as well, and take into all different sort of things around sustainability and inclusivity, which are very important for this forum. So I'll move on a bit. I see in the chat there was some further questions. I think some people say, well, I've already applied for in person. Yes, I was saying, please bear with us. We're working through a lot of those registrations. We've received them, and we'll hope to send an update on that shortly. And then I think there was another specific question about UN laissez-passer holders. As far as I know, I think most people will need a visa. So there's only a couple. If you look in our logistics note, there is some information on that. Again, we'll share that link, but it's very easy to find on the UNDataForum.org website. So yeah, please look at the logistical information, because there's a lot of important information there. So moving on, there's a question about simultaneous translation into other languages, and I think Spanish was particularly mentioned there. Unfortunately not. This is an English language meeting generally. There might be some, depending on what our hosts decide, some interpretation into Chinese Mandarin. But apart from that, I think in most cases, unfortunately, yeah, it will be just in English. It's generally because of costs that it's very difficult to add those services. The next question I'd like to put to Francesca would be, how will participants usually underrepresented in international fora, such as youth, SIDS, be assisted to fully participate in the forum? An important question to you.
Yeah, thank you. That's critical. What we're doing, and again, the host countries is very generously support participation of especially national statistical offices from the Global South. So they will offer to cover the expenses of a number of country participants. And we, of course, pay particular attention to those that are normally underrepresented and have fewer resources from their own budget to travel to the venue. So that's a way to facilitate through the funds offered by the host country. We're also exploring additional opportunities for funding. Those will be much smaller, of course, and more sort of ad hoc for some additional participants who need funding, but we're still in the process. So the short answer is yes, we favor countries that are normally have more challenges in accessing resources to travel. I also wanted to quickly address, Ian, I'm not sure you saw the question on the WhatsApp group for attendees, that we also, as I said earlier, the format of the forum is hybrid. And so we will have both in-person participation and virtual participation. There will be an app, a platform where you can interact. It's not a WhatsApp group, but it's similar. You have a lot of options there to interact, meet participants, meet people who are attending only virtually, chat, establish connections, exchange information, and watch the actual sessions. So I hope you'll find that useful. Back to you, Ian.
Thanks. I also see a comment coming in on low-cost options for simultaneous translation. We might look into that if there is. I mean, this is the data forum. We're all about innovation. So if that's a possible, we might get in touch with you, Alicia. Appreciate that. Moving on then to some other questions we've received. So we always get this about whether you can organize side events. Perhaps Francesca, you would like to comment on the issue of side events and what's our policy?
Okay, my usual answer since 2017 is that the forum is a collection of side events, in the sense that it's not a formal UN conference where you have sort of a ministerial segment or intergovernmental process and side events. It's just a collection of sessions that are proposed by the community and then are selected by the program committee based on their relevance, interest, level of diversity, and many other criteria. And so it's a compilation of those sessions that happen simultaneously. And then the backbone of the forum is the plenary sessions. There are one per thematic area. So there will be the sort of the moment where the whole group of participants come together, and for the rest it will be in parallel. So those are all the different sessions. Those who are interested in organizing events connected to the forum, unfortunately, are somehow discouraged to do that, because that will take away from the actual content of the forum or the different sessions happening in parallel. There will be, however, a couple of high-level events before the forum that are the host country is thinking of in connection with some of their big initiatives, like the Big Data Center, the launch of the Geospatial Center. Those are still sort of work in progress a little bit, but there might be something, I would not consider a side event, but some moments that happen close to the forum. Back to you, Ian.
Thanks, Francesca. I see some other questions around contacts about, how do you know who's participating? We'll be looking at an online event platform similar to what we had in Bern and even in 2020 when we first started using these things. These are very, I think, useful for being able to connect. There's usually an internal messaging system or, providing comments to different sessions. So we'll hope to use that. And I think people have even found sort of little groups similar to the WhatsApp that Francesca was saying to plan different sort of virtual meets, or even if you're hopefully coming to Hangzhou, then to meet in person, have morning runs. There's some nice stuff that I think was created under Bern. So we'll hope to that. And then another question, I think, about virtual registration. I think we said this at the beginning. So April is when we would be starting virtual registration. At the moment, the registration we're talking about is in person. And this is really, it's I stress again, important that if you are intending to travel in person, please register as soon as possible. The requirement for visa is really important, and that needs time. So please register, even if you're still looking for things like funding and other things. So moving on then to the sort of remaining questions we received at the top, at least, of this agenda, was how flexible are we, I guess, to move sessions between in-person to virtual hybrid? And I would say it's similar to where we were in 2021 as well, but there is some flexibility there. There's often this gray area between what you call hybrid and in-person, and we kind of set that last time, that as long as there was two organizers, or at least a speaker and a moderator at the venue, then we would consider that hybrid. Otherwise, one person on stage, it's a little bit lonely. We think that probably they'd be more comfortable as a virtual session. So, but that's something we talk about. We've also had some questions around pre-recording. We know that the time zone is going to be a challenge. There's no way around that. It's just the physical nature of things. But yeah, that we're happy to kind of work with you individually for those organizers on that, and we appreciate and understand that things could change up until the last minute. That's kind of now the world we're used to, and certainly with the forum, it's no different. So to finish off, then we do have just two more questions. So the question of sponsorship and scholarship, I think there was a specific question whether we have a scholarship program for university professors and researchers. I don't know, Francesca, if you wanted to add anything on that.
No, I think nothing more than what I already highlighted in terms of the type of support that can be provided from the host country, and a few other options we're exploring, but there are no specific scholarships from universities.
Okay, so I think that covers most. I noticed still some questions around fees, and so I'll just reiterate again, since this is a United Nations meeting, we do not have any fees to register, either if you're attending in person, of course, virtually. It's open to everyone, and that's the way we run things here. So without further ado, I turn to the second half where we happy to introduce our program committee members, and first to allow our co-chair of the program committee, Shada Beatty, to say some words. She's been with us and working on the forum for some years, and we're really pleased to have her this year as the co-chair, and she's been doing some amazing work with us. So over to you, Shada. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to all our participants. It's really great to see such diverse community building up the World Data Forum. So just a few more information items so we can get back to answering your very good questions that they are coming in really fast. So this is, as Francesca said, this is our 4th World Data Forum. We've had it since 2017. The first one was in Cape Town, and then we had 2018 in Dubai, and then we had a virtual one in 2020 and another hybrid one in 2021 in Bern. So this will be our 4th one, and would be also a hybrid group forum. And I wanted to highlight to you that we have a very good website, the unstat.un.org. So lots of information is available there. One of the things that's really important to highlight is that we have a lot of people working behind the World Data Forum to bring this to you. We have the program committee, and you see some of the members of the program committee. We have a high-level group, which is sort of an intergovernmental group of statisticians and some special representatives from civil society organizations who are also overseeing the the UN World Data Forum. Of course, we have the host country. Now we're working with NBS, China, and we have a number of sponsors. And of course, the important, very important work of the secretariat, where you see led by Francesca, and you also see here Paul and dear Ian, who's been kind of running or coordinating World Data Forum for us. So this World Data Forum, and we try to keep the theme of different themes that are covered under World Data Forum as much as possible throughout the 4 World Data Forums that we've had. For this World Data Forum, we've kept the 4 themes that I want to just quickly mention to you. I hope one day we all memorize them by heart. We call them TAs. The theme number 1 is innovation and partnership for better and more inclusive data. And that's where we're bringing a lot of new innovations on, for example, new sources of data and new methodologies to ensure that there is visibility and voice for everyone from the data work that we do. The TA2, the thematic area 2, is maximizing the use and value of data for better decision making. This stands by itself, and this is a theme that we've been strengthening throughout the World Data Forums to make sure that we bring much more value from using and having impact to improve lives from data. So this is a very important thematic areas for us. Thematic 3 is building trust and ethics in data, and there would be a number of very interesting sessions under this thematic area. And the last but not least, thematic 4 is emerging trends and partnership to develop the data ecosystem. And this is where we see a lot of the work that we do to kind of see how we can operationalize and bring together all the different thematic areas to, to have a sort of a common strategy and common work program for going forward. So for this World Data Forum, let me just give you a little bit of information. We're going to have 70 individual parallel sessions and 6 high-level plenaries that will be conducted in the hybrid format and cover the key topics that are just in the thematic areas that I just mentioned. Some thematic areas have more sessions than other thematic areas, but together you'll see that there's a rich program there. And my suggestion would be that if you're going to be a participant, try to pick and choose from each one of these thematic areas to get a sort of a good sense of the overall goal of what we're trying to do with World Data Forum to make sure that all these rich areas of data are covered. So finally, we also have some new formats of sessions. We have about 16 learning labs and more than 20 demonstrations and special announcements that we will be organizing. And most of them are going to be available for in-person participants, but we hope to have some of them also available online. So I don't want to take too much more time, Ian. Let's go back to maybe taking on some of the questions and hearing from our amazing program committee members. Thanks again.
Thank you, Shada, and thanks for providing all that information. It's a lot. So without further ado, I'm really pleased to introduce some of the other program committee members we have here today who are going to help us answer a lot of questions. As said, we've received much more than we've just covered. So without further ado, so Dilek Frezel is a research scholar. She was currently working at the International Institute for Applied Systems Analysis. Then we have Claudia Wells, who is the Director of Data Use at Development Initiatives. And then Rachel Bevan, who's the Director of the Statistics Division at the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. And finally, but not least, of course, is Nena Nawakama, who's with us today and is a very active member, and just appreciating the breadth of and experience of these committee members. And there's actually many other names of which maybe we can put a list who we have on the website, who attend meetings every month and gratefully give us their time and their expertise of putting together really, I think, what has become a very good and solid forum, and especially this time we're really looking forward to sort of exploring the program with you. So without further, I would just like to maybe do a starter question for everyone, and I'll see from my screen who to ask first. So we got the question, what is the goal of the UN World Data Forum? So perhaps Nena, would you like to start?
So, hello everyone. Hola, bonjour, salam alaikum. The goal is for us to go beyond the traditional statistical community, have the whole of the data community, and that includes you, your sessions, and your innovation, and your ideas, and the work you've done. So the goal of the forum, like Francesca said, it is not one conference, it is a lot of things happening at the same time. So this is a data community event from wherever you are, whatever part of the data ecosystem you find yourself. And that is why people like myself who are just policy people are here. I'm from the civil society, I'm a woman, I'm from Africa, and I am here for, on this. So my data community is different from Ian's data community, is different from Claudia's data community, but we come together because we want to work towards our development in a consolidated way. So no one is out of it. Are we not the ones saying leave no one behind? So you are welcome. You're welcome with your ideas. You're welcome with your sessions. You're welcome with your lightning talks. You're welcome with sharing your experiences. You're welcome across the data ecosystem.
Beautiful. Over to you, Claudia, to ask the same question.
So yeah, it was such a pleasure to come together in Bern after such a long time, that for me, the forum is really, like Nena was saying, about joining together across that really broad community, from sort of collection, from the people on the ground, the communities that we're trying to reach on the ground, all the way through to kind of some of the global discourse and frameworks that are so important to enable us to work together. But I'd also add that, so it's the joining up across those spheres. We take a really broad look at the data community. It's not just the official community. We're looking at civil society, we're looking at academics, we're looking at private sector as well. And it's so vital that we have a space where we can all come together and discuss, but also really importantly for me, debate some of the key issues as well, because we may not always agree. And I think it's really important that we kind of really think about what those thorny issues are, and debate them, and think about what the new norms for our community in the future should be as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Claudia. Dilek, over to you.
Thank you, Ian. I will just emphasize what has been said. For me, Forum is a platform where, you know, we, all of us, the data community, come together and, you know, build new partnerships and networks to be able to solve a lot of the development challenges that we're all facing. It's a very important outcome, or the goal of the World Data Forum, if you ask me. It's basically around building better data ecosystems and for sustainable development, for achieving sustainable development altogether. And, you know, stimulating data innovations, actions, and, you know, data informing policies for a better world, for sustainable development. Thank you. Over to you, Ian.
Thanks, Dilek. And Rachel, over to you for some words.
Thank you. It's always hard going after lots of other people who've already said such great things. So yeah, building on what others have said, I have attended all 4 of the World Data Forums which have taken place. And for me, you know, it was very much about kind of learning and sharing. But I think as well, it's about also having that personal time to actually reflect as well, and kind of think about things a bit differently, and to really kind of think perhaps a bit more creatively. Sometimes when we're just stuck on our own kind of particular, you know, having been through COVID, you know, sometimes our creativity isn't quite there, but actually being with other people really does help to stimulate that. And I think I would also really emphasize that it really made a big difference being there in person. So being at Bern was just so much more powerful than the previous year when I tried to engage online. And I really did try, but I didn't get anywhere near as much in terms of, you know, that those able to kind of really engage and think about things differently than when I was able to be there in person. So just encourage everyone to engage as much as they can. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for those introductory words. I think this is something that we at the UN we try and balance now. The forum is as I've said, is the partnerships, also how to balance between in-person and virtual, and we hope we get that balance right again in Hangzhou. We recognize that not everyone will be able to travel, but and some people might prefer to be virtual, and how we can sort of manage between those sort of different kind of preferences. So moving on then to some of the questions we've received. So first question is, how can one participate as a speaker at the forum? And there was a particular, I think, reference to civil society representation. So for that, perhaps Nena, I'd go back to you to answer that one.
Thank you again. So as I've said already, it's a whole year program. So once we finish, we start again. I was typing something in the chat. I will say it out now. In 2017, we're in South Africa. In 2019, we were in United Arab Emirates. In 2021, we're in Switzerland. In 2023, we are going to China. Then in 2025, we are going to Colombia. So I'm telling you now, so you see how we see things. At this time, session proposals are already done. There has been a lot of work on that. However, you can shout out on Twitter and say, I want to contribute on AI and data. I see someone here. So we're taking note of that. You can approach session holders, session organizers, and says, I'd like to contribute. You can tweet, you can share, you can blog. There are quite a number of things you can do, but what you cannot do in February for a conference that is happening in April is to propose new sessions. So we are not taking in new sessions because that part is closed, but session organizers have autonomy to pull in more speakers, more contributors. And once you clear with a session organizer and you arrange that, we're happy to update the program with your name as a speaker. But please keep on tweeting, keep on sharing. Knowledge never ends. Let the data flow.
Thanks, Nena. So next question we have is, how can one participate as how can we engage in the conference beyond sessions? And perhaps, Claudia, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, thanks, Ian. And thanks, a lot of what Nena's already said. There's so many ways that we want you to engage beyond sessions. If you are in person, there will be lots and lots going on. An exhibition space, lots of opportunity to engage directly with those in-person meetings, to provide interventions with your thoughts, and to interact with the communications team from the World Data Forum, who will be there recording the events that are going on and really feeding into that outcome document. But I would, if you've got a particular burning topic and you can see that there is a session on the program that's relevant to that, like Nena said, perhaps engage with those organizers directly. Think about what interventions you might like to provide. So even if you're not on the speaker panel, a lot of the session organizers, and certainly I did last time, will be looking to see what other interventions we might want to bring in, key questions from the audience, both in person and importantly online as well. But also do remember, on that online platform there will be recordings of all of the sessions. And so as a session organizer, what we were doing last year is we were keeping a constant record and constantly referring back to that page that our session was on. Questions were coming through from different time zones as people were able to engage with that session, and as session organizers we were always capturing that information, replying to questions if we can, putting you in touch with our speakers. This is a forum and a networking event. It's not a kind of a broadcast webinar. We want to create a conversation and create those partnerships going forward. There's also opportunities to blog and to speak about it and to be very active on social media. But really engaging with that online platform, especially if you're not able to attend in person, will be really vital. And you can create little sub-communities on there and really actively engage with the sessions. And it doesn't necessarily have to be live, because it's really important, and we recognize that there will be people from across the world, like there are on this call, in different time zones who might not be able to watch the sessions live. So you can watch them later and then still have an opportunity to comment and engage in some of those follow-up outcome things that the organizers will be arranging.
Thanks, Claudia. Actually, I'd re-emphasize the use we've made of the platform, which we're in the process of procuring. So hopefully in April we can sort of launch it. But for those who are maybe interested, you can actually go onto our website and look back. We talked a little bit about Bern 2021, and you can look back and see the actual platform we used last time, and it will give you, I think, a better idea of the functionality that's involved and the ability to connect. And even if you're going to Hangzhou in person, it's still a useful resource, I think. So virtual or in person, it kind of equalizes things a little bit, I think, and allows those connections and interactions to really take place. So we're looking forward to launching that, as I said, in April. So moving on to our next question, we had a question about how can I engage with the online audience? So it's a bit connected to this, and I think that's either as an organizer or as attendee. So Dilek, as also an organizer who's got a lot of experience in past forums, perhaps if you would like to take that one.
Thank you, Ian. I'll try to answer that. It's not an easy one. It's always a challenging question, how to engage with online audience. But I will again come to the same point where you were talking about this online tool, this app that we had in Bern, which was extremely helpful in terms of engaging with online audience. And we were able to see all the questions that were coming in. And we even had this privilege using of this particular tool and app that we saw the questions have always remained on the app. And we were able to get back to those who were asking actually questions and answer them, or maybe even create this environment where we could chat with each other and so on. So I think even during and after the sessions, engaging with online audience using this tool is quite helpful. Also to interact with everybody, when we're organizing our sessions, it's not only useful to use this tool for people who cannot be in the room, who cannot participate in person, but even if you are participating in person, you can actually interact with the online audience all the time, during, throughout, even after the forum. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, Dilek. Yeah. So the next question we received is, are there areas in the program that address data issues for developing countries? So for that, Rachel, would you like to comment?
Thank you very much. I mean, I really hope that you can see even from today that across the programme committee, we've really got a wide range of different kind of regions represented, different data communities represented, but throughout the whole programme, we're really looking at what we can do to address the needs of data issues specifically for developing countries. And that has been very much a focus as we've been setting up the different sessions. And we've also had the privilege actually of having so many different people submitting proposals that actually gives us a lot more opportunity to really select those that we feel really are the ones that actually will most help developing countries. Also my own role, particularly as Director of Statistics Division at UNSCAP, I've been trying to represent the needs of the countries in our region. We obviously have good communications already, and we kind of know a lot of those needs and priorities from the 52 or so different countries in our region. So we've also tried to make sure that some of those as well are reflected in that programme. And the programme as well is not just, as we've said, it's not just about presentations. It's not there just to kind of listen. It is all about interacting and learning from each other. And there are also the new opportunities in terms of learning labs as well. And I think that also gives that real opportunity for countries who might really want to kind of learn some new skills. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. And to add to that, I mean, probably like to express thanks for those who did submit a proposal. It's always very difficult and very competitive to get a proposal on the program. We received over 400 this year. And we really do look for that kind of diversity in country representation, in data community representation, and of course gender as well. So that this I think is a real cornerstone of what the forum's about, and making sure that we kind of cover many of the important topics, some I think which have been mentioned in the chat, so that we've got a real balance to the program, and our program committee members have really worked hard this year to make sure that's happened. Okay, so we had some further questions still, again from the registration. I'll try and turn also to the chat if there's anything left there in a minute. But next question is, what themes or hashtags will be used to promote the World Data Forum? Again, our resident expert on social media, Nena, please, over to you.
I'm typing away at the discussion bar. I think the discussion is more interesting than what is happening here. There are parallel discussions ongoing. So it's hashtag UN Data Forum. UNDATAFORUM. Hashtag UN Data Forum. We've been keeping it for the past 7 years. We don't intend to change it. It's well known all over, on the platforms, on the website, wherever. Do your music, do your talk, do everything. Hey, just share it with that hashtag. I'm interested, we're all interested. You can see there are about 200 of us here in one webinar alone. So please don't go too far from that hashtag, hashtag UN Data Forum. There is also the Twitter handle at UN Data Forum that you can tag, so we amplify your message. I don't have a lot of Twitter followers, it's just about 20,000. But if you tag me, I'm going to retweet, right? So please let's use that hashtag, tag to people, anybody in the program committee, we're happy to help. Share your photos, share your memories, but keep to the hashtag. Now, if you have sub-themes like AI, like gender, like open data, then you can add that, right? So one thing, use hashtag UN Data Forum. Add yours if there is need for your own community, for your own projects, for your own audience. Tag us so that we can amplify. Share interesting things, questions, recruit speakers. If you have money, please tag me. I'm interested. If you're offering booze, drinks, we're going to show up. If you want to plan a party, just let's get rolling. But use the hashtag UN Data Forum. Yep.
Thank you, Nena. Yeah, so our main platform is Twitter, but I think we're also looking to expand onto other platforms. It just depends where our communities are. So yeah, please let us know. Another, I think, important piece of communication that I'd like to share is also our email address, dataforum@un.org. If you have any specific questions following this session that we didn't answer, or even maybe a question personal to you, then please email us. We're always very responsive to those emails, and happy to please share some feedback or any issues. Please go ahead. So to round off, let's see, sort of time, we still have a few questions, and as Nena said, I'd maybe delve also into the chat. If there's anything there, please keep your questions coming. And as I said, our program committee members are very approachable. So they've already shared, I see their Twitter handles, so you can get in contact with them, and I'm sure they'd be happy to field any further questions. But we did get a few more that we'd like to cover in this session. So the next one is, since 2017, when the World Data Forum was started in Cape Town, how far have you got with this project? Which is an interesting one that I'd like to bring our co-chair back, Shada, who's been here with the forum a long time and can see that the progress we've made. Shada.
Thank you. Thanks, Ian. And that's a very good question. And one that we should just keep on asking and keeping in mind as we progress. But we set up the World Data Forum, as was earlier mentioned by Nena and other colleagues, is really to use data to improve lives. And collective action towards data has been very important for us in setting up the World Data Forum, to get value from data and also to minimize the risks and some of the disadvantages that the data revolution may bring for us. So the forum has been really a way for bringing users together to improve usage, to take advantage of new sources of data, to use technology in a way that can facilitate and improve data governance and better data ecosystem. So these been sort of some of the goals that we have set up. Now, setting up a forum and a UN World Data Forum has not been an easy task. So throughout this the forums, we've learned how to organize it better. UN DESA group, UN Statistics Division, has done an amazing job of bringing us together. So, for example, the program committee has been expanding and becoming much more diverse in how we organize the use of data platforms, the way to get more users. Francesca mentioned that we started from 2,000, we are closer to 20,000, so the expanding the registration and expanding participation has been very important. So we've learned a lot. We also learned that as we have been expanding and bringing in new communities, there have been some difficult areas where, for example, linking to civil societies has been very good. I'm coming from civil society, linking to international organizations, linking to some of the donors and philanthropic organizations is working really well. But we have some difficulties, for example, linking to private sector in much more sort of constructive way. So we've also learned how to link communities together through the World Data Forum, and how to also improve diversity. We've been very conscious to make sure that Global South and all the other groups that are difficult for them to, to participate in such forums are included. And in fact, the hybrid nature of the World Data Forum has really helped with that. So diversity has been improving. We've seen that a lot of data communities and data collaborations have been resulting from the World Data Forum, and in geos areas, in sort of measuring special areas, and in some of the really difficult issues that we are dealing with on data governance. So overall, kind of this community is really working together. There are some areas we need to improve. We have a lot of learning, but I think we have made great progress since 2017. And is really is a big we, is a we of collective action. So, I'm really excited about seeing that the World Data Forum will continue after Hangzhou, after China. We'll have the Medellin in 2024, and there's already some programs starting on, which is called Data to Action for 2020-2030, which is kind of a mapping of the actions needed to Medellin and from Medellin to 2030. So it also brings other groups together to think about how to use the forum as a platform for collective decision-making, collective strategic planning, and sort of, as well as small projects, as well as big projects. So I stop here, but I'm super excited about World Data Forum, as you can see, and really hope that we can bring all of you together to give this momentum for future and for democratizing data governance and collective actions towards data. Thank you.
Thank you, Nena. And sorry, thank you, Shada. Pardon.
I always wanted to. You did it.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, we're always open for ideas, as Shada said. Please check out the website. It contains a lot of links to where we store a lot of previous events and previous forum events. YouTube, I think someone was asking about whether we're on UNTV. We tended to go down the route of YouTube. It's a little bit easier and it allows us to store a lot more content. But before we sort of wrap up, I'd like to give kind of a final word to Francesca to ask her, what do we hope will be the key outcomes for the forum in 2023? So perhaps we can end with that question.
Thank you. And let me thank also everybody for the very interesting questions. And there's a lot more on the chat that maybe we can address also with posting more information on the website. But to answer your question, Ian, I think there would be a sort of a formal outcome. Every forum we have some sort of a document that brings together the main elements of the content of the forum and where the community is and where the community wants to go. We had the Cape Town Global Action Plan for data. We had the Dubai Declaration. We had the Bern Compact. We had several documents along this journey that we started in 2017. And we'll have an outcome document also in China, also linked to the Cape Town Global Action Plan. But I think even more important than the formal document, the outcome that we hope to have at every forum is to see more partnerships being established, to see more collaborations across the different data communities that all our participants today, all our speakers today mentioned, right? They all come from a different data group, right? From a different data community. They have different constituencies, they have different users, they have different needs, and they serve different users. So I think it's important for those different groups to come together, to learn how they can work together, and to create synergies, to establish collaboration, to mainstream some of the solutions that they present that can be brought more into the normative work and that can be amplified and be shared with the larger community. So the formal outcome, yes, it's important. It's the way we collectively express our ideas on how to move forward. But I think more important than that is new partnerships, new solutions, sensitizing policymakers, mobilizing more resources, those outcomes that will come along the way, right? It's not the day we close the forum, but the continuation of that collective action of that journey. Back to you, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. And I'd like to join Francesca in thanking you all for joining us today, taking your time wherever you are in the world. We look forward to seeing you either online or in person in Hangzhou. As I said, this is See You in Hangzhou. And then just to remind, the kind of final reminders is that in-person registration is open now. Please register so that we can quickly get the details to our hosts. I'd like to thank the hosts, of course, the National Bureau of Statistics of China, who kindly hosted the event this year. Looking forward to working with them as we complete what has been a more than a year journey on the road to Hangzhou. As I said, virtual registration will start in April, so look out for that. Look on our website. If you're into Twitter, then our Twitter handle is at UN Data Forum, which Nena, I think, spelled out very nicely before. Our hashtag is UN Data Forum as well. And finally, but not least, if there's any questions we didn't answer today, you can email us, dataforum@un.org, and we would be more than happy to answer your questions. Or if we can't answer it, then we also can connect with our hosts in China and answer those as well. So thank you again. Thanks for completing the poll. Just the variety of people. I hope we answered most of your main questions. And yeah, keep in contact. Keep in contact with our program committee members, always approachable. Keep in contact with us at the UN. Always happy to see you. And goodbye. Thank you for now.
Bye, everyone. Have a super rest of the day.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye.